Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and it's a slight change to what I actually had planned today, but instead we're going to be looking at the Pz.Kpfw 38H735F, and it's a tier 2 German premium, and I wouldn't normally excuse me, I wouldn't normally look at a tier 2 premium so much. Well, actually, I tell a lie, I probably would. Not so much the tech tree ones, I don't know, you're not in them for long enough, but this one was actually gifted to me very, very kindly by one of my subscribers, and this is where I'm probably going to pronounce his name wrong, and it's I'm going to go with what I think might be the safer bet, but it's Blazing Pharaohs, although I could be completely wrong and it could be Blazing Pharaohs, so I do apologise if I got that wrong, but thank you very, very much for your very kind gift. Now, it might look slightly familiar to any of you who have been down the French line, and it is of course a captured Hotchkiss H35, and in reality at the beginning of the war in 1940, when the Germans invaded France, they found a load of these. I think it was about 500 or 800 of them, and captured them and put them to use for themselves to basically supplement their existing armour divisions. I don't know how you would get one of these. I don't think it's been for sale on the PlayStation 4 yet. It possibly has on the Xbox, but I couldn't tell you on that because I've not, I'm not familiar enough with what has and hasn't been on the Xbox so far. But as for getting it on the PlayStation, I really don't know. Like I say, he very kindly gifted it to me with 3 days of premium and a garage slot, and yeah, it's nicknamed the Micro Mouse because it has 40mm of armour all round. So that's all around the turret and all around the hull, and that's down at tier 2, so it's a pretty tough little nut to crack. And yeah, it can bounce quite a few shots with a bit of careful angling. But if you are going to angle one, I mean, like I said, I don't know how you'd get one of these, but if it does come on sale, this review would be helpful. But yeah, it's a fun little tank. I'm not very good in it yet, but I'm getting there. I've had some better games later on this afternoon. And if you're going to angle it, I would angle it sort of this way rather than that way, because of that dip in there, and it can sometimes sort of act as a bit of a shot trap. But doing it this way, you do have to be careful because your driver's hatch is slightly weaker than the rest of the tank, but it can bounce a lot of shots. It only sees up to tier 3, but then again, so do a lot of the tier 2s. Now, let's have a look at the gun that it gets. Well, like I say, anybody who's been down the French line will possibly have been through the Hotchkiss H35. This gets a slightly better version of the upgraded 37mm, because it's got a stock 37mm, then an upgraded one, which is 37mm SA38. This is the 3.7cm SA38L34, so it's got a slightly increased rate of fire at 26.25 rounds a minute. It's got increased penetration at 41 and 40 average damage for your standard rounds, 64 and 40 for your premium, and 18 and 45 for your HE rounds. Quite a decent aiming time at 1.71 seconds. Accuracy, well, it's not very good at 0.4, but it's it's about average for down at this tier, I would have said. There's quite a lot of guns that are around that down here. Hull traverse is very good at 46, but it does have a very small engine at 75 horsepower, so the hull traverse does make up for that, but it is still quite nippy at turning round. And as we've said before, 40mm all over, and it's got a when I can get my words out, it's got a turret traverse of 48 degrees a second and a view range of 330 meters, which is actually slightly above average for the tier, and a signal range of 525 meters. But it's like I said, I've been having a lot of fun in this. I think I've blocked is about 1800 damage in a round, so I'll have a look at a few of those. Oh, supplies wise. Right, well, your standard ammunition, a 14 per shell, 800 for your APCR, which is of course a premium, and 8 for your high explosive. Now, with only about 18 penetration, it's arguable why take any, but don't forget this is tier 2. There's a lot of stuff that, that would pen and do full damage to down at tier 2, so, that might be an option. But you carry 100 rounds of ammunition. Equipment wise, well, I've just stuck some vents on it at the minute. I don't really think it needs much else. If I wanted to go full seal clubber, however, I would probably go for a gun lane drive just to increase that aiming time even more. Well, sort of decrease it even more, should I say. and probably coated optics, just to outspot everything, or even a binocular telescope, and sit a little bit further back in support in those tier 3 matches, which is kind of what you got to do. When you're top tier, you can be quite aggressive. Go and watch out for tier 2 tank destroyers though. When you're not top tier, so when you're in tier 3 matches, you have to play a little bit more cautious, stick it in a support role, angle it a bit, and you can still bounce quite a few shots. Although Blitzens, fire and premium ammo have been my bane today, they really have. Skill wise, well, excuse me again, it's a light tank, but I'm just using it as a trainer basically. It's well, a trainer and having a bit of fun, to be honest. It's got no silver bonus, but it has a 70% XP bonus. But I wouldn't treat it as a light tank. If you were thinking skills wise, I'd treat it more like a medium, or daft as it sounds, even as a heavy. So you probably want repairs, maybe even track mechanics, sixth sense obviously. What else skill wise? Clutch braking maybe, possibly off-road driving. I don't know, snapshot, brothers in arms, just increase the rate of fire and aiming time and everything else. Top speed's not bad, we'll have a look at that now. It's got a top speed of 37 kilometers now, but it is a bit underpowered, like I say. It will reach on good ground, hard ground, sort of roads, it reaches about 30 under its own power. I've been given a bit of a nudge though, and got up to about 35, and it just stayed at 35 as I was going down the road, which was quite funny, and I was only going about 15 when it actually nudged me. So it will get up to about 30, but it will take a little bit of time doing so. Concealment is not too bad. I'm not used to down at tier 2 actually, so I'm not sure if that's average or what for the tier, but it's a very small tank, so 0.28 while stationary, 0.21 on the move, which isn't too savage at all. Engine wise, well, it's a big old engine, 7.13 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio, so like I say, you know, not particularly fast. 16 kilometers in reverse, big old engine block at the back, and even engine components in the front. However, like I say, with a bit of angling, it's not very often you do, well, I say not very often you get penned. You can bounce a lot of shots. I have been possibly a bit too aggressive in it though, but I've been testing it out to see what it can actually do. Now, gun elevation is 15 degrees, which is, it's not bad. I've seen worse, but I've obviously seen a lot better at sort of 20 and 25 degrees. But like I say, it's not too bad, and it works. You know, I've not had any problems with that at all. Max gun depression is 8 degrees, which is quite nice as well. Some of the other low tier German ones are sort of -10, but -8 is quite workable and quite nice. And if you are using the ridgelines, this can be quite a beast in particular. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Terrain resistances aren't brilliant, 1.14, 1.26 and 1.71. Obviously turret on top. Radio is down in the base of the hull, and your ammunition blocks are just at the sides there, either side towards the rear of the hull, basically from the top to the bottom of the tank, and just 2 crew members. The commander up in the top, who is also the loader, the gunner, etc., and the driver down below, who is possibly even the radio operator as well. Armour wise, well, there's not loads to speak of, but the armour figures are pretty true. You've got 1 to 20mm for your tracks, and the gun, also the top of the turret, your engine deck, and what I'm assuming is to stop the tank tipping over when it's going uphill. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That actually counts as a small amount of armour, so you know that helps if anyone tries to fire an HE shell up your backside. 21 to 30 is your driver's hatch. Like I mentioned before, it is a bit of a weak spot, and your upper plate or your upper glacis. However, it is really well angled, so it does bounce a lot of shots. Excuse me again. Now, 31 to 50, well, it's 40 all round, and as you can see, it basically is. So all the way around. And like the mouse up at tier 10, the key to this is angling, and it's angling it well, but because it's 40mm all round, you can almost sort of do quite a bit of an angle to it like that. So you really can almost go at 45 degrees in some cases. But yeah, it's a very nice little tank, and it is good fun. I know a lot of people don't like it down at tier 2, but yeah, I've been having a bit of fun today down there. So enough of this. I don't think I've missed anything out. Let's get into the replays and see how it actually handles. So here we are for the first of the replays, and I do apologise, I did cock up a bit on pressing record. So yeah, we've just missed off the first couple of seconds, but we've not really missed much. Just the countdown. It's a tier 2 match, and it's Wide Park. I've seen this a couple of times, well, I say a couple, I've seen it a lot today in this tank. It seems to come up more in the lower tiers than it does with the higher tiers, and I know, is it on the PC? Is it still in the PC, or is it been restricted? I can't remember if it's restricted to tier 6 or 7, or if it's been removed altogether now, but anyway, here we are. There are downsides to this tank, of course. The armour is fantastic, the gun is quite good as well, but it is very slow, and even though the armour's physical thickness is quite good, so something like the Fox combat car, or any of the combat cars, because they're all the same, well, which won't get through. It really won't. Only if they get very close and aim very well at your driver's hatch, then they could possibly get through that. But yeah, at that range, well, they're going to struggle to hit you, and if they do hit you, they're definitely not going to pen. But it is slow, like I say, and angling is the key. I can't emphasise that enough. And a bit of range, you know, that helps always, because obviously penetration drops off over range. But the problem with this tank, and with all these slow tanks, is that sometimes the fight just gets away from you, and you notice it more down in the lower tiers, because the matches tend to be over a lot quicker. You know, most of the tanks down here are fairly fast moving tanks. You know, there's not many really slow tanks down at this tier. So quite often, and what I found today a few times, is that the match sort of got away from me a bit, and you know, I was just struggling to keep up. But the matches where, you know, it didn't get away from me, I actually got into the action. I've had some really good fun in this today, so again, thank you very much to you Blazing Pharaohs, and I'm probably saying your name wrong again, and I'll probably do it throughout the video. Now, apologies for having to clear my throat a few times in the garage review. I have been fighting a bit of a sore throat all week, but tomorrow is Saturday. It's also New Year's Eve, so you know, I won't be doing a video because it's Saturday, and I'll take the opportunity to wish you all a fantastic New Year's Eve, whatever you're going to be doing, and I hope you all have a good one. Now again, I was going to go down the eastern side, but I saw that the enemy team had basically pushed through on the west, so that's why I've cut back across, and I'm trying to sort of intercept them as best I can. But yeah, like I was saying, you know, you notice the slowness, the lack of speed down at this tier a bit more, because everything is normally so fast moving. The fight can be very quickly moving. I was on Ensk earlier, and I did, you know, I didn't even get hit. Nothing even managed to shoot at me. I did about 300 damage, something like that. But it was a struggle to keep up with the fight, because the team were moving so quickly. You know, everything was just dying before I could get there. Now, I did kind of expect somebody to come up over the ridge behind me, and I've realised that I'm in the worst possible situation. I have ended up in open ground and completely surrounded. However, as you can see, I've angled a little bit towards the T1E6, but I need to be re-angling towards the T26 instead. He did bounce one, but I didn't angle quite enough, and that's me done. So, skipped to the end there, and it was a victory. Quite a nice little one. 2,252 XP down at tier 2 is quite nice. That 70% comes in handy. 645 damage with 434 blocked, and it put me at top of the table with 4 kills as well. But yeah, that's quite a nice amount of XP for down at tier 2. The only downside with tier 2 is quite often you're in matches like that where it's sort of 7 on 7 or 8 on 8, that sort of thing, and generally if it's a full match it's going to be a tier 3 match. Right, here we are for the second replay. There's 3 of them tonight with this one. And again, I've been a bit lax on the recording. I don't know what's been wrong with me today. Some of it is my fault, I'll put my hands up to that. I just completely forgot to hit record. Other ones, it was down to my laptop. For some reason it's been a bit slow today, so I'd hit record and it'd take a little bit to actually start. But here we are, it's a tier 3 match, I believe. Yeah, 'cause it's full, so it probably is. And yeah, Ghost Town standard battle. And I'm going to head up to the northeast corner because not many people are doing it again. I don't know. With that corner it's sort of all or nothing, but if nobody covers it, the enemy team will come round there and they will sort of get you on two fronts then. You'll be fighting them on your flank as well as in front of you, off towards their cap. And I'm having to keep pausing it now as well to clear my throat. Now, somebody does tell me to stop. They are on mic. I don't know if they're trying to tell me to stop over the mic as well, but like I've said before, I do have to turn the chat down for recording purposes, otherwise you have a lot of background chatter. But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to push through. Like I say, I have been playing this quite aggressively today. Some matches just to try and keep up. Other matches just to test it out really and see what it can and can't go up against, what it can and can't bounce, that sort of thing. You know, I've not seen one of these before. I don't think I've ever come up against them. Obviously I've come up against the French ones, you don't see them very often though, but I don't think I've ever come up against one of the German ones, so it's just, you know, I've been testing it a lot today, but I wanted to get this video up today as well. But yeah, I am enjoying it, I'm getting better in it. Blitzens, like I say, are the bane of my existence in it. I hate seeing them in the lists when I've been out in this. Now span it round because I'd seen these light tanks coming around behind, and it's a T-70. They've got a nasty little gun and they're quite well armoured from the front, as you can see. He's giving me a bit of a whack there and I just can't pen him, so I'm going to try and get alongside. I used the hill to get a bit of speed up, and I'm just going to try and manoeuvre and see if I can just angle and outmanoeuvre him as best I can, really. His pals pop round the corner though. Oh dear. But he's occupied by something else, and I've just got to keep moving, keep angling. But it is very small, and it's very low as well. And as you can see, he just sort of kept missing me because I am such a small target to try and hit. Now, the AMX-38 is also quite a tough opponent, so I am going to switch to premium ammo, and I'm going to spam some of that at him. I'm not above it when I need to. And I'm now having a little dance with him as well, and he's bouncing mostly or getting eaten up by the tracks, so that was quite a nice little exchange and I was quite happy with that. And it just goes to show you that it is quite a tough little tank, and it, you know, its manoeuvrability, its hull traverse, its turret traverse are quite good. Its engine might be a little bit underpowered, but having that little bit of speed going down the hill just sort of threw him a little bit, and yeah, I was able to sort of dance backwards and forwards and dodge or bounce any of the return shots, so yeah, I was quite happy with that. Now it's just a case of trying to get into the fight and see if I can do a bit more damage before it goes one way or the other. But it's not looking too bad in our favour. It's 11-7. That's a very damaged tank down there. There's a Blitzen, there's another one here, and yeah, I just thought cheeky auto aim, bang, and it bit me in the backside as it bounced, so that was unfortunate. Now you do have 40 average pen with this, that's around 100 metres. And don't forget Blitzens have 38mm of armour on the front, so at a distance you're either going to have to aim for weak spots and keep your fingers crossed, or you are going to have to use premium ammo, and my mistake was just momentarily forgetting about that Blitzen, and that bit me in the arse as well. So I think we'll skip to the end. Now, unfortunately, that was a defeat. The last remaining guy on the enemy team fought off, I think it was 4 of our guys, and killed them all, so well done to him. There he is in the M2 medium, so very well done. Didn't quite come top, but out of the 13 hits I received, 9 were non-penetrating hits, and I damaged 335, sorry, blocked 335 damage. And again, don't forget this is down at tier 2. You know, when a lot of the damage that you know is being put against you is sort of in the 20s, 30s, you know, some of it's sort of 40, that sort of thing, so not too shabby. Anyway, I got my act together with the recording. It's a better time, we've not missed any this time. It's another tier 2 match, and it's Wide Park, but this time it's in the rain. And it's a standard battle again. And normally I would go over to the right as we're looking at it, so over towards the east, the 0 line, whichever you want to call it. I prefer sort of northeast, southwest, north obviously being the A line, etc. And I don't know, I was heading over towards the west this time, but then I got a bit indecisive, saw that the east was a bit sort of undercovered, but then, you know, somebody else started going there, so I thought, no, I will come over this side for once. And I don't normally, but it's not too bad in this tank. Now, this is the last of the replays tonight, and like I say, you know, I'm not sure how you'd actually get one of these, but if it does come on sale, then this will be a useful review, and if you ever see one, or you see me in it, this will be useful for how to kill me. And it's the driver's hatch, basically. That's what you want to try and go for, or if you can't and you don't have enough pen to get through, it is basically premium ammunition time, and try and go for one of the flatter sides where there are less angles, because the commander's cupola is also 40mm, well, that's what it appears as anyway. So they're my sort of tips. Driver's hatch is the best place, or the flat sides, and like I say, failing that, spam the premium ammunition. But yeah, it's well, yeah, thank you again to Blazing Pharaohs. It's sort of, this episode's kind of dedicated to you, because without you it wouldn't be possible. So there you go, thank you very much again, and it was very kind of you. Now I'm going to try and push over this hill, and again, not something I would normally do, but I'm feeling fairly confident in the armour of this thing, and I'm feeling a bit cheeky and aggressive. Like I say, I have been a bit in this all day. Now, the Cruiser 2 with its sort of spray and pray gun is not going to prove much of a problem for me, as you saw there. And even the Igo Chiro, he's struggling a bit, although he could start slinging HE rounds, which will be a problem, because even if they don't pen, they are going to damage me. There he is, and I should have waited for the sights to just sort of zero in a bit more, but I was getting a bit impatient, I must admit. There we go, finally start hitting him, and I'm taking some hits from the T60, and again, quite a tough little armoured tank from the front, but not so much from the sides, and thankfully he keeps giving me his side. Now also, don't be too harsh on these guys. Don't forget, a lot of people down here could be very, very new to the game as well, so I'm not going to judge anyone harshly. Now, I am taking a bit of a beating. It is mostly from artillery and from that Igo, and then he manages to take me out, but we'll skip to the end and see how he actually did. Well, it came out there with 1,607 XP, 409 damage done, but 1,188 blocked. In fact, that's my record blocked in it. I do apologise, not 1,800. Got a bit ahead of myself there. But there you go, the Panzer 38H, the Micro Mouse as it's known. I love it. Thank you very much again. I've been having a lot of fun in it today, and you'll probably see a lot more of that. So, as always, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.